In today's email, we'll be looking at emotion phrasal verbs, two-word verbs that describe emotions and moods. Phrasal verbs are very common in everyday English speech and writing, so it's important to understand them and learn how to use them correctly. Emotion phrasal verbs allow us to express our feelings in a more descriptive and vivid way. For example, you could say, "I was very sad," or you could say, "I was feeling down." This gives a clearer picture of your emotional state. Some common emotion phrasal verbs include cheer up, let down, face up to, open up, etc. And each of these phrasal verbs expresses a different sentiment or reaction. So here's a brief list of phrasal verbs with accompanying sentences. Emotion phrasal verbs. Cheer up, which means become happier. She was feeling sad, so I tried to cheer her up with some funny jokes. She was feeling sad, so I tried to cheer her up with some funny jokes. Cheer up. Break down. To become very upset and perhaps start crying. When he heard the bad news, he broke down and started crying uncontrollably. When he heard the bad news, he broke down and started crying uncontrollably. Break down. Act up. To misbehave. The child started acting up when he didn't get what he wanted. The child started acting up when he didn't get what he wanted. Act up. Wind up. To annoy. Her constant complaining really winds me up. Her constant complaining really winds me up. Wind up. Let down. To disappoint. I felt let down when my friends didn't show up to my party. Let down. Open up. Means to share feelings. I wish he would open up more about his feelings. I wish he would open up more about his feelings. Open up. Lighten up. To relax a bit more. You need to lighten up and stop taking everything so seriously. Lighten up. Face up. To accept responsibility. It's time to face up to your responsibilities instead of avoiding them. Face up. Tune out. To ignore. This is when you lose focus and ignore something. I tuned out when the lecture started getting boring. Tune out. Zone out. Very similar to tune out. Again, you're losing focus. She has a habit of zoning out during class. Zone out. Crack up. To laugh uncontrollably. The comedy skit made me crack up laughing. Crack up. Freak out. Like a panic. Don't freak out, everything is going to be okay. Freak out. Space out. Similar to daydreaming. He spaced out and didn't hear what I said. Space out. Clam up. To become silent. To become silent. When asked about the incident, he clammed up and refused to talk. When asked about the incident, he clammed up and refused to talk. Clam up. Pipe down. Pipe down means to be quiet. Can you pipe down? I'm trying to study here. Can you pipe down? I'm trying to study here. Pipe down. Do you find it difficult remembering different phrasal verbs? Here's some useful tips for memorising the meanings and usage of emotion phrasal verbs. Associate an image or scenario with each phrasal verb. For example, cheer up could be associated with images of smiling, happy people. Learn phrasal verbs in groups or sets that relate to a common emotion, such as cheer up, lighten up, crack up for happy emotions. It's easier to memorise related sets rather than random verbs. Use mnemonic devices or acronyms to remember phrasal verbs. For example, face for face up to, admit, confess, express. Face. Study the verbs by looking at how their prepositions change the meaning, like up often means improving mood, down means worsening. Say the phrasal verb out loud when you read or hear it used. Verbalizing helps solidify the memory. Write sentences using the phrasal verbs frequently to reinforce proper context and usage. Make flashcards or sticky notes with the phrasal verbs and put them in places you'll see often. Study similar phrasal verbs together to compare their usages, like open up versus spill out. With regular practice and association techniques, you can master the meanings and usage of emotion phrasal verbs.